We have enough time right now to do a 3-minute concluding statement if you'd like. So the yellow light will appear 2 minutes 30 seconds indicating you have 30 seconds left, and the red light will come on in 2 minutes and 50 seconds indicating you have 10 seconds left. Since Mr. Piner in this joint session has been the only one who has not started, we will begin with you with a 3-minute closing statement.
You get a minute, just 3 minutes.
Thank you. No rebuttals to the closing statements.
First of all, to give some people a little history about myself, I'm Earl Piner from Elkton, Maryland for 53 years, born and raised in Cecil County. Have 10 sisters, 2 brothers, 7 grandkids of my own, 3 kids of my own. Married to my lovely wife, Debbie, for 32 years. We both worked at DuPont. I worked for 20 years, she worked 14. And I work at Gore 14, she's working there for 15. So we all live and breathe Cecil County. That's what you all see on my platform, is I live and breathe Cecil County. For what I do for myself, I do for my grandkids, my kids, my relatives who are all in Cecil County. So when I represent you, I represent them, I also represent myself. I am a person who stands behind his name. When you're Piner for something, I don't know what, but Piner for something. My reputation means a lot to me. What I say I'm going to do, I do it. If not, I make sure I give an answer why it wasn't done. The thing is, when I run for an office, I want to do the best I can do, and I want to be able to say that person stood out in the crowd. As a coach for Cecil College, education is #1 on my list. Education, like I said before, if you don't know what you're doing, don't even try, because you've got to be a good leader instead of having good followers. I teach as a basketball coach that if you want to do anything, make sure you do it something that can be repeated by your peers. Someone that can learn and grow from you so that the youth can do it. Just for a closing statement, I just want to let you know that when we deal with things that are mandated from the state, there are some things we can't have control over. Just to show an example, Friday, Delaware Avenue was closed down. We didn't know it as officials, but because of that, there was programs going on at Meadow Park. I took it upon myself, because of the kids, to make sure that they had a place that would provide them services for them to continue to practice. No one told me to do it. No one said I had to do it. There was an issue that was brought up. I took Friday, Saturday, and Sunday just to make sure that there was somebody who's going to help the kids so they wouldn't come back on the representatives for the community, which would be us. As a town official, first thing I heard was, you guys didn't tell us that this was closing down. To alleviate the issue, I didn't say the state did it. I went and found the issue. Because of working close, networking with your peers and community, Elkton Christian provided service for the whole week. And that's one thing we have to do. Look outside the box and see who is there to provide services that we need. Thank you.
Thank you. And Mr. Lockhart, you have 3 minutes for your closing statement.
You don't know how to do that? You got to push it until it feels like it's going to break.
Well, Earl was going to sing there for a second. It's funny how timing was this, and a few people in the crowd saw this today. October 14th, 1964. Surely it was called the Cecil Democrat then. It wasn't called the Cecil Whig. I had this mailed to me from my sister, and it probably doesn't pertain to much, but I thought it was interesting. Kay Lockhart, wife of attorney Len Lockhart, gave birth to a son Tuesday. I figured that was me. The Hartford Memorial Hospital, Howdy Grace. This is in the Cecil paper, born and raised in Rising Sun. Statistics indicate he weighed 7 pounds. We heard rumors to the effect that a girl's name had been selected ahead of time by the proud parents. Well, better luck next time. And this is in the Cecil Whig, 1964. So it was funny when I read that. I thought, you know, since October 14th, 1964, the Cecil Whig hadn't liked me. I'm just kidding. Just don't believe everything you have in the paper. There's just a couple of things I will leave tonight. When you guys, and it's been a great, I want to thank Mike, it's been a great evening. And when you're selecting someone for county commissioner, please make sure you've got someone who can do it as a full-time job. They've hired us as a part-time job. I'm sure Commissioner Hodge, Commissioner Demmler, Commissioner Tone, Commissioner Mullen. will tell you it's much more than a part-time job. It's a full-time job to do it right, and I enjoy it and I love it, and I hope you vote for me again. My son came home last year, and I also have a daughter, but he came home with a report card, Earl, like this, and he said, "Dad, I got a report card." He says, "You don't get a report card when you finish school, do you?" I was driving down the road, and I said, "What'd you get?" He said, "I got first honors." And I said, "No, you don't get one." And I said, "Well, you sort of do." And I think some people heard this when I talked about when I decided to run again. The commissioners do have a report card. At budget time, if you show up in the building and the sheriff's office is mad at you, and the school board's mad at you, and EMS is mad at you, and Department of Social Services is mad at you, and everybody in the building who gets funding from you is mad at you, I feel you did a good job. I know you're going to sit there and laugh, and like when you get home, if your wife's mad at you, you did a good job. So we have affected everybody in the county this year because of the tough economic times. And if there was a group that came up, Parks and Rec, I can name all the groups. If somebody came up to you and they were happy with you, then as commissioners, you should sit back and go, "Oh, we missed something." So at this point, everybody was equally mad at us. So I'm proud of this group of commissioners. I'm president of the county commissioners this year, and it's been a great year. The last thing I'll leave you on, the other way I told my son how you can tell whether you've done a great job or not is on the general election day. If you have one more vote than the other guy, you've done a great job. Thank you.
Yes, Mr. Tim, I'm sorry, I was taking a trip to the Bahamas inside my head there. You have 3 minutes for a closing statement if you choose.
Okay, I was born and raised in Fort Deposit, lived in the same house that I grew up in, and plan to probably live there the rest of my life. I love Cecil County, I love Fort Deposit, but I want to see things improve and the quality of life improve. I'm 46 years old, have a son, Wayne, and daughter, Kayla, married to my wife, Sheila, who is a Baltimore County police officer of almost 25 years. She's domestic violence coordinator for the county in Baltimore County, so she knows how to beat me up and get away with it. And but she's seen a lot, she knows a lot, and you have that reach back capabilities to see what's going on out there in the street, at the street level, and I've been doing that for 30 years, volunteering for this community, and done it for those 30 years very diligently and very actively with the Waterwitch Fire Company and Perryville Fire Company to save the county money, to provide services for the citizens, and I think that's what I get the most out of as a commissioner is constituent service. Brian talked about being a full-time job, and it is a full-time job. It's not just on Tuesdays, but it's those phone calls, those emails, those visits to look at somebody's ditch, a tree hanging over their house that they don't think it's their responsibility, and when they're just handcuffed and don't know which way to turn, and you go there and you give them a phone number and preempt that phone call from that individual to that agency or that individual to say, "Hey, such and such is going to call you if you need help now," and it gives them a sigh of relief because they didn't know where to turn. And that's the real joy out of this job that I get is serving the citizens, and it's kind of like shocking somebody and they come back and they wake up and they talk to you as a paramedic. It's really putting your skills to the test and making them really work and to reap that reward of being able to serve each other is what it's really all about. And that's what government's all about, is serving the constituents. It's your government. We're just trying to run it. And we try to do a good job. Sometimes you really do let us know when we don't. And sometimes we do get a thank you, and that's what really keeps you going, is those thank yous, and you can really help someone along the way. I got into politics at the behest of the great Senator Amos, who told me, he said, all boats got to rise with the tide, not just a few. That little rowboat just got to rise with the tide, just like that $1 million yacht, and I really believe that. And he said, when you're riding in one of those boats, he said, you got to rock it a little bit to keep the barnacles off the bottom, or it's not going to flow, and it's not going to cruise in the right direction. And he said, but don't rock it so much it's going to turn over. So with that, thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Roberts, you have 3 minutes for your closing statement.
Number one question I get when I talk to people about running for county commissioner is, are you crazy? And when they say, are you crazy, some of them say it not too nicely as I have today. And I said, no, I'm not crazy. I said, I think it's at this time of my life that I can fulfill the needs that I perceive that this county needs. I do laugh, I do smile, didn't do too much of that tonight, but I do have a sense of humor. My wife will attest to that. If you ask, I grew up a farm in a farm outside of Port Deposit, lived there for 28 years. 125 Golden Guernsey milkers, and it was 24/7 on that farm, and I did it for 28 years. That's where I learned my work ethic. That's when I learned that there is no time clock on a farm. You get up, you do the job, and the boss tells you when you can go home. And just because I wanted to play American Legion baseball didn't mean that I got out in time to get to the game that day. Married my wife, who's a Perryville girl. We both graduated from Perryville High School. Our sons graduated from Perryville. And today, for the first time, all 6 grandchildren attend Cecil County Public Schools. And our 5-year-old attended kindergarten. His grandmother and his mother cried. He didn't. And with that, so he had a great day with that. I've had experiences in leadership that I'm very proud of and very fortunate to have. 40 years in public education. The last 12 as superintendent of the Cecil County Public Schools. I understand large budgets. I understand working with people. And for some people who may think that I'm not collaborative, talk to people on the Bainbridge Development Corporation Board, talk to the members of the Cecil County Chambers of Commerce, talk to the people I worked with in Cecil County, talk to BPAC, the business partners, and they'll tell you that I'm very collaborative in nature because one person doesn't do it. It takes partnerships to get things done. It takes partnerships with the delegation, it takes partnerships with the General Assembly, with the citizens of Cecil County, with the public and the private sector. And that's the only way we're going to get things done in Cecil County. And I can do that because I've worked with people and I've done it and I know we can do it here. I'm running not because I dislike anyone. I'm running because I don't think we have the level of leadership required to get Cecil County where it needs to be in this 21st century. We've got many challenges. It's going to take a lot of hard work, and we've all got to work together to do it. I look forward to working with 4 other county commissioners to identify the goals and to make sure that a budget of $163 million is being spent on the priorities that are going to move us forward. And that's what I'm about. I appreciate the Cecil Patriots hosting this event this evening. It's great. I love it. I thank you for listening to me, and I appreciate your consideration on September 14th. Thank you.
We would like to take a moment to thank all of the candidates for your answers this evening. I have to put a disclaimer out on the table just to let you know both Joy and I were asked by the Cecil County Patriots to moderate this event for a couple of reasons. A, we're from out of town. We have nothing, no local ties relating to this, so we had a totally unbiased view. And the questions were collected from the public, and I don't know if that was mentioned earlier, so that they weren't brought from the Cecil County Patriots. They were collected from the public. And I must give them credit because they gave me, as the main moderator, full control over what questions made it to the end. And there was never any doubt as to being totally nonpartisan and unbiased across both of these events. We do have Toastmasters applications for you 4 gentlemen in the back of the room. One thing I would like to ask before I turn the microphone back over to Ron is that a couple of people actually had to rearrange the room for this evening. And if you wouldn't mind, if you have a couple minutes and aren't on a rush back out the door, some assistance to help them set the room back to where it was would be deeply appreciated. I know I speak for both Joy and I. We had a tremendous evening tonight with both you, the candidates, and you, the audience. You were a fabulous audience. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mike. First of all, I'd like to thank the audience for being here tonight, taking time out of your busy schedule and showing community responsibility and learning about your candidates. They did an exemplary job of addressing the questions that were presented to them by the community.